Today is the 8th Sunday after Pentecost. The epistle readings appointed for these Sundays flow after Pascha in the following fashion. After Pascha, the epistle comes from the Acts of the Apostles. After Pentecost, we continue to the book following the Acts of the Apostles, Paul's letter to the Romans. And you've heard me reciting passages from Romans for several weeks. This Sunday, the 8th Sunday after Pentecost, we move to the book after Paul's letter to the Romans, 1 Corinthians. And so it happened that I read from 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 10 through 17. And we heard how Paul had to reprimand the people of Corinth because he heard that there were dissensions among them. There were factions of people who were aligning themselves with different apostles. People said, I belong to Paul, I belong to Apollos. Other people said, I belong to Cephas, that is Peter. And Paul reminds them, was Paul crucified for you? They had clearly lost sight of something. Today also happens to be, on the Julian calendar, August 1st, the commemoration of the procession of the Holy Cross. This feast day dates back to the Byzantine Empire, when they would take the true cross discovered by Constantine and Helen, and they would place it on the altar on August 1st, the altar of Hagia Sophia, that beautiful church in present-day Istanbul. And every day until the Feast of the Dormition, August 15th, they would process the true cross through the city so that the people might venerate it. And today, Father John, in honor of this tradition, had the cross on the altar when I arrived to sing the hours. And you saw how we then ceremoniously, just as they did in ancient Byzantium, process that out that we might venerate it. The epistle reading appointed for that important observance, by a grand coincidence, is the exact continuation of that appointed for the 8th Sunday after Pentecost. And so for the Holy Cross, I read 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 18 through 24. And we heard what it was that the people of Corinth had lost sight of. That central message of the gospel. Paul reminds them, we preach one thing, Christ crucified. And so let us today, in honor of this day, let us also not lose sight of that message. And as we continue in this liturgy, remember that grand sacrifice of Jesus from which flows our salvation. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Thank you, God.